Good morning, everybody. What is going on? And welcome back to the life of Dave, where the rent is too damn high. But you have to understand that property management companies and landlords have raised rent on their tenants every time the lease comes up for renewal, every year for as long as landlords and tenants have been a thing. And a lot of people who complain about, oh, my rent is $2,000 a month for a 500 square foot studio apartment. This is bull, this is greed, the 1%. But you know how many landlords there are who aren't in the 1%? It's some businessman who bought 5-6 duplexes. He mortgaged them. He didn't just outright purchase them. He didn't have like 20 million sitting around. Or you get a bunch of businessmen together, they form a property management group, LLC, and they go and buy 15, 20 properties, and that used to be a good system because typically, these individual groups had an interest in maintaining their properties because they need the equity in order to justify raising the rent. But like an apartment complex, condominium complex, someplace that doesn't really appreciate in value, there's no equity in an apartment complex. It's like a shopping mall. The equity isn't there because it's constantly depreciated due to use. Now, of course, you use your house, but an actual piece of property on a parcel of land has equity. And granted, you can split hairs and say, well, an apartment complex on a piece of land is property. It's not in the same way. Now, if you really want to stop making rent so fucking unaffordable, you got to get your local, your town or your city to abolish mill rates. Get rid of property taxes. You can easily do that. All you got to do is find someone to run for, city council, and then get another person to run for, and eventually get someone to run for first selectman on a platform of reining in mill rates. And if you look at a place like Connecticut, where I grew up, you could have a town A right here with a mill rate of X, and then town Y next to it is a mill rate of Z, and Z is lower than X. And why are people moving to town Z but not town X? They're right next to each other. What do they have that we don't? Cheaper housing. That's what it is. But the economics of all of this is lost on younger people, and it's also their fault. They're not working good jobs. It's not that the good jobs aren't out there. It's that you get Becky, who, decided to get knocked up at 23, and then she broke up with her boyfriend after the kid was born, because that's a smart fucking decision. Just now you're a single mom, and you've got too much fucking pride to just go and be with another because you think men ain't shit, right? And now you're on your own trying to raise a fucking kid. You're working 36 hours a week as a waitress at fucking Applebee's. Then you get tired of working at Applebee's, so you quit and you go work at Chili's. Then you get tired of that and you quit. You go work at fucking Carrabba's, and you quit. Then you go work at fucking Denny's, and you quit. Then you go work at IHOP. And you're making the same money, if not less. Like, I'll tell you right now, the company I work for, within 5 months, I got promoted to supervisor position training new hires. I was just training this guy who's been doing this stuff, working on pools and everything for 25 fucking years. I've been working on him for 4, right? But the wage they started him at was lower than what I'm making, okay? And I kind of have a problem with that because I think wages should be based on experience, but it's not only experience. Now, it's based on position. The owner of a company is always going to make more than a cashier. The manager of Walmart is always going to make more than the kid bagging groceries. And here's the thing, it's supposed to be a kid bagging groceries, not a 45-year-old single mom. I know only 2 or 3 single mothers who actually have their shit together. Like, one of them worked part-time as a bartender at Applebee's and then was a realtor. And then when she finally was doing good as a realtor, she quit working as a bartender, doing a realtor full-time. And she's able to afford, being a single mom, right? And, I'm a single guy. And I'll tell you right now, if I had a roommate, because I have a, little 3-bedroom house. I don't rent an apartment. It's an actual fucking house. And my rent is $1,300 a month. And let me say this too really quick. In terms of, if there was a law on how to have rent control, I think that you can't really have price fixation, but you can have price per square foot regulation. So, like if you look at commercial real estate, the rent is largely tied to the square footage. And so, a place that's in a really desirable brand new strip mall is going to have a higher price per square foot than a place that's kind of, shitty. But residential properties, I'm pretty sure, kind of do the same thing. And I think that the price per square foot should never be more than $1.75 a square foot. You know, if you're paying $2,000 to live in fucking Seattle in 500 square foot, which is, I think, insane. Because, the area, it's because of the desirability. Nobody wants to live in Seattle, motherfucker. Holy shit. You know, it shouldn't be $5 per square foot, you fucking retard. But then again, you're the moron for living in fucking Seattle. And that's the thing. These fucking yuppie 26-year-olds, they move out of their fucking parents' house at 20. They never saved up a fucking cent. They didn't work when they were 17. Didn't work when they were 18. Didn't work when they were 19. They fucking move out when they get their first fucking job and they're making $9 an hour. Then they want to come back. Well, you decided to move to the Big Apple. You decided to move to fucking Soho. You decided to move to the most expensive fucking areas. That's not how anyone else has ever done things. You think my parents bought their first fucking home in Woodbridge, Connecticut? You think the home I grew up in that was worth $1.7 million was their first home? No! The first home they bought was in Milford for like $98,000 back in like 1984 or some shit. That house now is probably worth $200,000. You know, and you have to learn to, you know, take what you can get, live within your means. Stop pushing the fucking limit and then being poor. Just take a step back, realize, you know, well, maybe living in New York, this isn't in the car. Like, I want to fucking go buy a 36-foot center council fishing boat. Can't afford it. I could go, my credit score is good enough. I can go take out a fucking loan, finance one with what, a 24% interest rate? Suck my dick. So you take a step back and you wait a bit. And it's just how things have, and people have always done this, except for younger people. They want it now. They need it now. You know? But like if you have a roommate, yeah, you split the rent things, but then what? They just throw the excess money away. They don't save it. And I kind of do this a bit. I make enough, and I'm like, what else am I going to do with my money? I think money's going to be worthless in 10 fucking years. So I save a bit. I put a bit in my portfolio. Then I spend money. I spend because I make like $5,600 a month. My cost of living, all my bills and everything combined is about $2,300. So I've got all this extra money to fuck around with. I go out to fucking the sports bar 2-3 times a week. I rack up a $45 tab, getting dinner and drinks, and a $10 tip or some shit. You know, I buy gun stuff. I buy this. I buy that. I do this. I do that. You know, and that's just what I choose to do. Now, I could stop buying all that shit and then save all that money. And I'll be able to save, like, in 6 or 7 months, $11,000, $12,000, you know? And, again, I'm 32, making $19 an hour with a job that lets me work, like, up to 25 hours of overtime. If that's what they'll let me do, I'm going to do it. But you're not going to be able to get to where you want to be working as a fucking 40-hour-a-week waitress. I'm sorry. It's not happening. You're not going to make it at racetrack. Well, we got to raise the wages. No, you don't. Just because the city of Austin is so expensive doesn't mean the minimum wage needs to be $20 an hour. Yes, should the Texas state wage be $7.50 or $7.25? No, fuck no, that's retarded. Should at least be $9 at this point. But complaining about how unaffordable things are isn't going to make things more affordable. You want to fix shit? Don't blame your landlord. Blame the fucking government. The government's the one who creates all the shit the landlord can exploit. The reason you're in the situation is because of the system we're living under. And capitalism is not the problem. Capitalism is why you're able to get a job in the first place to afford anywhere to fucking live. You know, capitalism is why you could pick up and fucking move from Portland, Oregon to fucking Boulder, Colorado, or go from Austin, Texas to Lakeland, Florida. This is a big-ass country. Things are cheap in some places, things are expensive in others, and if you're living where it's expensive and you can't afford to live there, fucking move to where it's cheaper! Thanks for watching.